Welcome back to Real Estate Success Partner. I'm your host, Devin Dubuque, and today we got a really cool guest for you. We're switching gears a little bit here, and we're going to go down an avenue that we haven't done before. We've got Joey Martin, and Joey, I'm going to butcher all the different accolades that you have, man. So, tell the folks out there, who are you from? Like, what do you do, man? You're a jack of a lot of trades.
Sure. No, thanks. So currently in Dallas, Texas, did a tour in New York City.
Yeah.
Grew up in the Seattle area, in kind of a small suburb there. But most of my professional career has been very technical.
Yeah.
So
You're a technical guy.
Yeah. So I started over, actually, you know what? My first job actually was bending rebar. I was worked for a company.
I would have 14. Never in my life would I guess.
Yeah.
That.
It was wild. So I took a summer job doing that. But after that, I was very technical. I was into car stereos.
Okay.
So
Me too.
Oh, no kidding.
Car guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Grew up building audio systems and doing the whole thing. So.
Oh man. I got way into it. This is mid 90s, early 90s.
It was a great time to be in stereo, right? Everybody
was great. So I had all the magazines, right?
Yep.
Sort of taught myself how to do it.
Some lowrider mags in there too, right?
Yeah, car audio. All
car audio is the one, man. Yeah.
So I started very technical, and I kind of taught myself how to do that. Talked myself into a job at a local shop. Turned out to be a very high end shop.
That's great.
That my neighbor was the manager of.
Okay.
And so I talked them into hiring me, and so that's kind of where the technical stuff started.
I got to ask you. So, what was your favorite setup that you did?
So back then we had a box building program called LEAP. Okay. And this was like very advanced for its time.
Right.
But what it would do is you would actually measure what they would call feel small parameters for each individual speaker. You'd break it in and you'd build it for that speaker.
Yeah.
So
you are technical.
Yeah. It was great. So we had this, Pioneer had come out with this really special series of subwoofer.
Okay.
And the one to have was their 10-inch. And what we would do is we built a really special bandpass box for these 10s. And they would absolutely destroy.
Just get low.
And so that was kind of our bread and butter, is that we were a little bit different than everyone else. So we were very technical, and it was highly engineered. And
that's amazing. You were like building these little Bose boxes with these amazing large 10-inch subwoofers, right? Because Bose back then was the guy that was able to take these little tiny enclosures and make all this sound, right?
100%.
Now you're taking these amazing, larger subwoofers, right? 10 may be small in some worlds, but what a 10 can do in a bandpass box is, and you're getting the tech specs down to a science
for that specific speaker, right? So what we would do is we would build it out for 2 10s. And then whatever the customer wanted to use for their amp.
Push-pull system or?
Bandpass.
Separate.
Bandpass. So sealed with a port, and the port was square. So it was rectangular. We would build these boxes custom. And we would throw about 500 or so watts, typically with a PPI or a sound.
PPI, man. Yeah.
And I had an old CRX. It was a Honda CRX SI.
Of course it was in a CRX.
1990.
Of course it was in a CRX.
Yeah, right. Yeah. 146 decibels. Woo. And this is in like 95.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it started.
Quarter bouncing off the roof.
Yeah, exactly. Like blowing the windows out, right? Like,
I've seen it, man. I've seen it. We had a guy in our hometown, and we'll get off this talk. Obviously, that's not all where this is going.
Sure.
It's a cool thing to talk about. He was doing, I'm trying to remember the brand he was using back in the day because it was different. US Amps was what he was going with.
Yep.
And he did this subwoofer system. It was 812s, 6 15s, and like 4 18s in the back of a Nissan pickup truck, right? And I remember he drives up to the Sonic,
of course,
and I'm parked next to him because I've heard about this machine, right? And I think there were like 12 amps, maybe more. And I'm like, hey, Brian, I got to hear this thing. And he's like, we can't. I'm going to get kicked out. And I was like, just one note, man. I gotta hear this thing. And he blasts that thing, and the window on the Sonic just flexes.
Oh, yeah.
All the top of the Sonics just. My girlfriend in the car next to me says that it was louder than the bass in my car coming from his truck.
From 20 feet away.
And the manager came out and said, "You're out."
That's it. Ejected.
Time to go.
Ejected.
And so anyhow, man, it's just amazing what you do. So you guys are doing this, but you're doing it more on a technical level to get just premium sound quality. And so that's where the technical side comes from.
That's where it started.
You're like, no more rebar, right? We're into tech stuff, right? So, so where do we go from here?
So I ended up talking my way into a technical job. So at the time, my mom was very technical, and she was working for AT&T Wireless.
Okay.
She said, hey, you would be really good at this. You should learn Unix. And so I'm like, what is that, right? So she sets me up with a Sun Solaris machine at home, and I teach myself how to script, and then I talk my way into AT&T's NOC. And so I tried college, a few different colleges. Yeah. It's not like a structured education guy.
Yeah.
I really struggled with sitting in class, and so I was better at doing self-taught stuff and like getting my hands in there. So that's where the tech stuff started.
There
so
it is,
it moved right into software. And from there, I had a bunch of different roles. So I moved from the system to infrastructure to applications, and I moved from a handful of larger companies.
Yeah.
AT&T Wireless, Microsoft, Expedia. Eventually moved, I think the last probably banner company I worked for was Zillow, and I moved into product there. That's really kind of what
we'll talk about that too, man.
What got us on this path.
Yeah, 100%. Well, let's take a quick step back and let's talk about how we got to know each other. Since we're on the tech talk, right?
Yeah.
Guys, if you don't know, there's a really cool program out there called Roam, RO.am. Shout out to our guys over at Roam. Yeah. And by the way, no sponsorship here, right? Yeah. Just we happened to meet each other. Roam was doing a networking party here in the DFW, and they brought in all their clients. That's a really cool idea,
Carbone.
right?
Yeah, with the back room at Carbone.
Exactly.
It was cool.
It was really cool. I'd never been, actually. It was the first time there. Yeah, it was a great place. And, all of a sudden you walk through, you don't know who's going to be there, right? Yeah. And, all these really great people from the industry, techie kind of folks in different industries altogether. Everybody was doing something a little bit different.
Yep.
And it was, hey, how are you using Roam? And by the way, here's some of the cool things that we're doing.
Yeah.
And if you don't know Roam, I think that's a really cool strategy. They had clients that weren't onboarded yet and clients that were boarded sitting next to each other. So we're like selling the product to the other person for them, right?
Yep.
But what a great concept. And man, so they brought us all in there and we met out of this thing.
Yeah, you're sitting across from me. Yeah.
That's it.
That's great. Great 100%. Conversation. We followed up and it's been great. We were in, I think, very early days testing. We had a couple, myself and some business partners were testing it with a couple of things. Yeah. And we decided to not move forward with those, but I got to meet the folks there and I met.
That's it.
And it was incredible. Great 100%. Dinner, wonderful experience. I think it really shows like Howard and his team. Like you can tell when someone is a multi-time founder and he's got an exit and he really knows how to appreciate people and like set up this environment that is really conducive to like growth. And, just high level conversation all night.
It is. Yeah. No, it was amazing. It was absolutely. So we stemmed a relationship out of that. Here we are today. And so that's how Joey gets here on the show to talk about what he does. Yeah. And you stopped at Zillow, and that's a big name, right? Yeah. And, but you weren't there when Zillow was Zillow.
Yeah.
They were almost Willow back then. Right?
Yeah.
And if you've seen the mill, it's short in stature, right? Smaller operation.
Yeah.
And you kind of helped build that. And I think that was in, if I remember right, New York. Were you in New York at the time? Or
right. Yeah. So I had moved to New York to support my then girlfriend in her career. And then I met a couple of folks out at dinner one night who worked for Zillow. Zillow had just bought their company and we hit it off. And I had been looking for something since I moved to New York. I was working remotely for Expedia. And I kind of wanted something to sort of seat myself in the city.
Yeah.
And so this opportunity came up and I had never been a PM or a program manager, but I operated that way. I kind of took ownership over things.
Got it.
And they said, well, let's talk about it. They said, we're hiring somebody to take over our product because we're going to be running the sort of the office.
There it is.
So at the time, so I come in and they bring me in as a PM and then eventually I take to it very quickly. It's like a natural, transition for me. And I had really good mentors. Like the people that hired me, they're multi-time founders. She just left. The people that hired me, she was president of Zillow up until about 6 months ago or something. Okay. And so she was there 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, she had sold a company, her and her husband, Matt, had sold a company to Expedia. They sold a company to Zillow. And then the one they bought at Zillow, that's what I came in to take over. Eventually ended up taking over that team. Yeah. So when I started there was about 15 people in the New York office. During the course of that tenure, we started multiple businesses. We bought Trulia, had bought several other, bought some mortgage companies, some other stuff there. But there's about 15 people in the whole office. And we were in basically kind of a loft, like a condo, like a really swanky, that was their office.
That's
and then it moved into about 180 people on 3 floors, and we were in Flatiron District, and it had grown so much over like 4 years.
Massive growth. Right?
Yeah, tons of growth. Yeah.
And that's as Zillow is just becoming the giant in the industry, right?
The disruptor, right? The great disruptor.
Disruptor, that's it. So what was that like, right? What were you doing for those guys, or is it a hush top secret? Right? Probably not at this point in the game, but
no. I think some of it was, so I started out as a PM, then I started taking people on below me, and then I ended up being the head of product management there.
Yeah.
And so I had 5 PMs, 3 designers, and I had about 50 engineers, some
Yeah.
onshore, some in the Ukraine, some kind of all over the place.
That's it.
We ended up setting up the data standards for vertical and dense living for all of Zillow. So my team got to work with the other folks and the other
Right.
brands. And so lots of smart people just got to work on a lot of cool stuff.
That's it. Yeah. You're in the room with a lot of great minds, right? And not just minds in the office, but minds across the world, right? And so, you're building tech and some of the coolest tech that we've seen.
Yep. All the data that we had for the New York listings went to every single platform. So we were the standard for everything. So if you were on Trulia or HotPads or Zillow or, gosh, I'm going to forget. We had 4 platforms that we were on. StreetEasy's platform, all of it came from us. And our sort of special sauce was high quality data. We had about 450 feeds that we were curating just for the 110,000 buildings in New York. It was really cool. And sort of my coup de grace there was a 6-month project. It took us about 2 years to plan it, but it was about 6 months of execution where I ran point on it, about 125 different resources across 4 time zones. And that was releasing the Premier Agent product in New York City, which was a big to do. And then
it is.
And then that was my last big project.
That's your baby.
And moved on. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That was it. You're
that was it about.
You're like, did your legacy you left behind, right? So I'm out. So how does that lead you to where you are today, right? So I leave Zillow, and are you still in New York, or what are you doing?
Well, I was sort of teetering between. I had 2 opportunities. I had one in Dubai that was to help take basically a Zillow of the Middle East public.
Yep.
And then I had another opportunity in New York, which was running product for a high-speed trading firm in Tribeca, which would have been pretty cool. But I decided to go out on my own, and I was going to get into business with my brother, and that's actually why I moved here. And so I moved. I kind of dropped everything and moved here, and I stayed with him and his wife for about 90 days while I was kind of getting my feet underneath me. And he wasn't able to step away from his business at the time. Yeah. And so I kind of went out on my own. So he helped me with some contacts. He was in the construction industry. So we were going to build houses and do flips and take everything we had learned, right? So I said, look, I know the media and the product and all that stuff, the construction stuff. Let's do it together.
I know where to get the data.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know a guy. That can help us make these great decisions. Yeah. It's me.
So you're like, I'm the guy.
Good stuff, man. So
I came here to get in business with him, and it didn't work out. And as it were, I went on this like non-linear path journey, right? I joined a bunch of masterminds, learned that I really did not I was great at working in a system, but I had a lot to learn. There was so much. I skinned my knees, all kinds of mistakes. Problems with partnerships, businesses, putting business plans together, actually doing it all yourself versus saying, here's what we want to go after, right? Having, an executive team come to you and go, this is what we're thinking, come up with a plan.
The strategy and plan is already there versus you have to build the strategy.
And the budget, talk to investors, come up with a plan, all while you're keeping the lights on yourself. So
no pressure.
No pressure, right? Learning how to raise capital, and what people care about, and that's really what I had a couple partnerships that were, I don't want to say they went bad, but they went the way they were supposed to for me, right? Yeah. And it's one of the areas now that I don't want to say I'm an expert, but I'm very good at helping people sort of coach them through why you would have a partner, right? Who do you partner with? What makes you a good partner? Where are your gaps? Talk about divorce before we talk about marriage, right?
That's it. Yeah. That's smart. That's smart. And so what's the exit strategy look like, right? What if this doesn't work out? Yeah. Which is very probable, right? When you're building a partnership.
Yeah. If we get together, why does it fail? Right. And so everybody talks about it, right? Is it because we didn't execute properly? Is it communication? Do we fight about something? And so that kind of tees this whole framework up for, let's talk about the things that we need to do to make sure the business is okay. And so we come up with a set of agreements in the partnership agreement, right? Where it's this is how decisions are made. And we can always refer to this document. And we've thought through it. It's a very thoughtful process. Yeah. Very kind of Socratic, I think, maybe in that way, where it's hey, this is very methodical. We work through it slowly.
I love that.
And then, each person kind of goes their separate ways and they get their own counsel. So hey, here's the agreement that we've come up with. Where am I exposed? What do I need to know about? Does my equity need to be transferable?
That's
right?
it. Should
they be able to assume it? Should they get first right of refusal if we decide to split up? what do you want to do with your company?
Yeah.
Do you want to sell it?
it.
Is it a lifestyle business for you? Is it something you want to brand yourself? And one person always wants to be there and one wants to leave.
Right.
You should just know that, So
I don't know why when you're saying this, I'm thinking of the McDonald's movie, right? Like, I don't know if you've seen that or not, but first off, I'm thinking about the brothers out there, like mapping out McDonald's before it ever opens, right? Like, hey, so we don't bump into each other and we can slide through here and we can get the product out fast, right? But what they didn't think about was the back end side of it, right?
Yep.
And as a result, what ends up happening? McDonald's can't even advertise their own name anymore, right?
Yep.
They lose everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they didn't think about those strategies up front.
Yep.
So you're a wise man to say, hey, I've stumbled and fell, scraped up my knees, I've bumped and bruises, and let's do it the right way this time. Yeah. So now we form what? What are we forming? What are we building?
Sure. So, all of that stuff kind of led me to where it's at today. So, I went on this real estate investment journey, which is learning about numbers in a very internal way, really understanding, looking at P&Ls, helping people raise some capital for my own deals, for other people's deals. And what I realized in that process is just investing in real estate was not enough to sort of satiate the building itch that I have.
Right.
So I kind of moved back into software.
Okay.
And then during that period of time, I started doing what we were calling consulting for equity.
Okay.
So it's I would come in, it would help people, solve a problem, put together a game plan, and I would do it for equity, right?
That's it.
A little retainer up front. Learned a lot during that period that, not all equity has value. Right. And so
is it as good as the piece of paper it was?
Yeah. It's it sounds great. You're going to have 10% of this company.
Yeah.
But that's tied to all these outside factors and whether or not the CEO and the leadership team and the timing and the marketing and the
back to growing pains, right? You're going to learn from these lessons that you haven't experienced yet, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So here I am with this war chest full of dead equity that will never go anywhere. If it does, it's great, right? I'll be able to
all your lessons learned.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. Just chalk that up, another scar, right? Another notch. But so from that, what I realized is I was really good at helping other people navigate. And this is really what opened up with me at Zillow is I'd always been very good technically. And I knew that I had potential to be a great communicator.
Yeah.
And then what I learned is that I love helping develop leaders.
Oh, that's huge.
And that is where I thought there's this space where I can really help people. So I kind of morphed that into coaching, advising, and mentoring more on a one-to-one and a one-to-many basis. So I'm opening up a group coaching thing right now. It's not quite ready, but
what's the name on that?
It's Keeper Consulting Group.
Keeper Consulting Group.
Yep. Yeah. So what I do now is I've got a handful of one-on-one clients, and then I take some advisory roles too. Mm-hmm. But as part of that process, I can help people work above their business, help them build roadmaps, get an understanding, and I can have more effect in all areas of the business, which is great. At the end of the day, it's really the people and the founders, right?
Yeah.
Where they're at on their journey, where are their blind spots?
That's it.
Do they have a safe space where they can have a vulnerable conversation?
That's right.
Because it's a journey, right? It's sometimes you don't want to hear the things that you're going to hear. I had to have some tough conversations this week. I fired 2 clients last week because they were not upholding their end of the bargain. And it was a first for me. And so, but it's
a big step, but sometimes you got to do that, right? If I can't advise you to do the things that are going to make your business successful, this isn't a healthy relationship.
Right. Yeah. I can't care about it more than them. Right.
That's true. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is your baby.
Yeah.
And I want it to be our baby, but we got to care for it the same way. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. It's got to be fed and cared for. And all that.
You got an absentee parent.
Exactly. Right. Your baby's starving.
I get it. I get it. Yeah. So, but that's awesome because you had the background of making a lot of mistakes to get to the point where you can become the consultant, the advisor, the person that can lean on and go, look, here's the deal. I've seen this before, and this is what's going to happen if you keep heading down this direction. Let's fix that. Let's fix these problems before they ever become problems, right? Yeah. I love it. I love it. So, and you've got some other things that you're working on too, right?
Yep. Yeah, so kind of more real estate focused too is I've taken kind of a more active role than I have, I would say, in the past couple of years with a company called Revland.
Yes.
And Revland is really interesting. So they're solving this relationship. We're helping sort of reinforce trust and the relationship between property owners and contractors. And specifically, we're focused on like, let's call it small to medium sized projects.
Yes.
Anything that's phased. What we do is we have this great platform that we're in the middle of building out. We did an MVP last year, got a bunch of really good feedback. And now what we're doing is kind of bringing in this one-to-many relationship with partners, folks like yourself.
That's it.
And what we're doing is we're actually becoming a bit of a fintech platform where we are holding funds in escrow and we're giving homeowners and property owners all of these creative ways to pay for their stuff.
That's great.
Right? So if you want to pay for your kitchen remodel, or if let's say you're a commercial and you've got contractor garages, lots of different ways that we can deploy capital that's maybe fits you the best way. And so, we're becoming a bit, I don't want to say a bit of a bank because we're not technically a bank, but it's escrow, and we have, we're partnered with Capital One and they hold all the cash.
That's great.
It's a nice safe space for it.
Yeah.
But, it's helping people sort of reinforce and fix the fractured relationship. I'm sure you've seen this in Texas. There's no licensing or standards for contractors, right, to be able to have a license. And so, what this does is it puts some power in the property owner's hands where they can prove money being released on a milestone, and there's total clarity and transparency, and we can help them handle the disputes and stuff too.
That's it. Well, what you maybe think of when you say that is, like a one-time close program, right? We're the bank and we are building a property for the client, right? And the contractor comes out and they do the work and the work's not done to par, right? And so how do we get the contractor back out if we already gave them the check? Right? That becomes an issue. And all of a sudden they're ghost. They're gone. Money's been paid and we got nothing as a result of it. So you've got checks and balances here to say, hey, the contractor can't do that because we're going to hold the money over here and it's safe and secure with Capital One, right?
100%.
Everybody has confidence that they're not going to take the money. They might take the money another way. Sorry,
they're definitely borrowing it, right?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, they're going to hold it in a safe space so that 100%. Once that work is done and complete and accurate, your work is done. And it's funny you say that because I know just last year I had two neighbors on the street that were working on pool. And guess what? They took the money and just never came back. Right?
Yeah.
And they've got a war zone in their backyard.
Yeah, it's more common than I would like to admit.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And it's crazy that people just don't realize that. And it's like, man, well, who do you trust? Right? And you're building a platform that allows you to have that trust.
Brings transparency into it.
That's it.
They create the contract right there inside of, so, each, sort of workspace is a project, right? So it's 123 Main Street, kitchen remodel. They upload their contract into it. The agreement is there. They agree on the milestones, the percentages, the dollar amounts, and they upload pictures, notes, everything. They have the ability to reject or make change orders. It's really great.
That's fantastic. Well, I think there's a flip side of that coin too, right? Which is the contractor, right? Now the contractor knows, hey, there's a rainbow pot of gold at the end of that rainbow, right? Like
I've got to deliver.
Yeah. So I know the money's there. I know that they're going to make good on their end because it's already been managed. So we've got two people that are safe in this space now. We've got the consumer who can now confidently go out and do the things that they need to do and know that they're going to be completed. And you've got a contractor that knows that as long as I do my job,
exactly.
I'm going to receive
you got to perform.
Right? It's taken care of. The payment's going to be there. And it's safe and sound in the hands of Capital One, who can now earn interest off our money.
Exactly. Exactly.
But they got to have skin in the game. There's got to be a reason for them to want to do such a thing.
Exactly. Right. So it's kind of a win-win-win for everybody. And, the way we're approaching it is, I think, very much how you do with your team and your industry is, it's all value add for us. So we're investing heavily in, we're kind of taking some of the educational courses and the foundational sort of training that I do with business owners. And we're bringing that in specifically for contractors.
That's important.
And so it's just a value add. We're not charging them for it, but it's like, hey, we're going to help you with how to run your CRM, right? We're going to show you how to market. We're going to show you about communication. We're going to talk about, scheduling your jobs, right? How to handle difficult conversations.
That's huge, man.
All of these sort of fundamental things that people overlook. It's not just contractors, but you jump into a space, you're like, I love money. I want to get involved in financing or selling insurance or mortgage or lending, whatever it is, right? And then there's all this other stuff that nobody tells you about, when it comes to running a business. So that's what we're trying to do is, the contractor is really the person that we care the most about. We want to elevate the quality and the integrity of what they're doing, sort of repair this damage that they've got, right?
100%.
As a group, right? It's very challenging. People don't trust them.
Well, how many small business owners get in and they've got a great product and they're doing amazing things, but they have no idea how to manage the business, right?
100%.
And at the end of the day, either the business fails, right, or they get themselves into hot water and they don't know how to get out of it, right?
Yep.
Because they just didn't know that side of the business, right? And the product's fantastic,
Yeah.
and they need to be able to be out there doing those things, right?
Yep.
And now they've got a consulting firm like you that can come in and go, hey, look, we can help you with that, right?
Yep, exactly.
We can give you a safe space, and we're going to show you the way, because we've had the bumps, scrapes, and bruises, and we also have the technical ability, right?
Yep.
I mean, Joe, you worked at Zillow, building some of the coolest tech that our country has ever seen, with programmers from across the world, right?
Yep.
So does the product work?
Right. Yeah. Has to work.
It has to work.
Has to work.
It has to work.
Yep.
And you know exactly how to do that. And if you don't know how to build it yourself, well, you've got a Rolodex full of people.
You got a network. Yeah. And,
Exactly.
And sometimes
That you
that's
can
where
lean
the
into.
value is too, right? So you get someone that's highly technical, they come up with they've engineered a great product, but maybe they don't understand messaging, how to connect with a customer, how to set up sales, how to set up a pipeline, what a CRM is, right? Just basic messaging communication. Oftentimes we go out and we tell people about us, right?
it.
And don't necessarily connect with them. And so that's it. It's a big shift for them. So whether that's helping them understand what their core messaging and value proposition is, or if it's, hey, I need help setting up systems.
Yeah.
My contracts are all over the place. I'm texting people, I'm emailing people. It's 3 different lines of communication, right? Just bringing some tech in or bringing someone in that says, hey, I've got a workflow person that can come in. They'll take a look at this. I'll help you manage the partnership there. I'll help you make sure you get good terms and that you're getting the right thing that you need, but then let them do it and own it.
My man.
Yeah.
So you're not selling, right? You're listening.
Yep.
You're listing.
Yep.
You know, and I think that's where a lot of people get it wrong in any sales industry is, hey, I've got the best whatever, right? Like you got to see this thing. It's amazing. And it's like, I didn't need any of that. You know, I'll give you an example. You know, I had somebody that I was reaching out to not that long ago, and we were talking about doing some business together. And he rolled out this whole thing that he built that he thought was the coolest thing since sliced bread. And it's cool.
Yeah.
I'd already built that, you know? And he's like, yeah, and this is why you got, and I was like, I have no interest in that at all. I did that a year ago, right? You know, so at the end of the day, had we taken the time to sit back and go, hey, what is it that you're missing? Right. And man, how can we be a bridge to you to make that come to life?
Sure.
Right.
Just connecting.
That's it. Connecting.
Learning more about who's across the table.
That's it.
Right.
100%. Because we never know. We never know. That solution may already be solved. Right. So what is it that your pain points are in your business today?
Yeah.
And how can we go about fixing those? Because we're going to listen. And we're going to go, okay, I take note of that, take note of that. All right, now let's build a process and a platform that's going to complement all the things that you don't have. Because you're doing this right, and you're doing this right, and you're doing this right.
Yeah, it's a little different for everybody, right?
100%.
We build you a roadmap and go, okay, here's the quick wins.
My man.
Right? This is how you cover my retainer.
Yeah.
Let's get that out of the way first.
That's it.
We're going to carve you out the time, and then we're going to show you how to pay for me.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of great stuff happening right now, man. Like you're doing some really cool things. And, you know, despite the bumps and bruises, you know, it sounds like, you know, you're launching something pretty special.
I think it's exciting. You know, it's as entrepreneurs, we go through this thing where we feel like we should know everything. Right. And we kind of operate in a vacuum. And that's a dangerous place for us to be, is in our mind with all these failures, because all of these little things, as long as you don't quit, right? You might get tired, take a rest, sit down, right? But as long as you just keep going forward, like, you won't lose.
That's it.
Right. And that's the key here, is that you're going to learn something by going
every
through
time.
this. Like, this challenge does not feel good. I was embarrassed in front of people, or I was embarrassed in front of my staff, or I didn't know a term on a call, and so I walked away, and so I didn't want to, you know, I was embarrassed to ask or something, right? All of these little, like, what feel like micro losses, they're the things that are like fortifying your nervous system and your mindset and your confidence to go, oh, I didn't die. I didn't know what this acronym was, and I felt comfortable enough to stand up. And my face got a little flushed in front of that room, but then now I know, and I know that I didn't die, and it's okay, and I can continue doing it.
But did you die? You know, it's funny.
Did you die?
But did you die? Right? You know, we talk about that all the time. You know, and what's funny is, you know, we learn so much more from our failures than we do from our successes, right? So,
where it's at.
if you take those failures and look at those as positives, right?
Yeah.
That's just one step closer to success. And, that's where a lot of people get it wrong. And that's where they stop going, right? Like they stop going because they're like, oh, no, it's, if you know what you're doing is right, you've got something that you truly believe in and you know that you can make it happen, right?
Yeah.
You just got to open every door and window.
Yep.
You've got to keep yourself educated.
Yep.
Keep yourself in the right circles.
Yeah.
With really intelligent people like Joey. Right.
Right. Like you said, right? Like
100%.
good high quality rooms.
That's it.
That understand that there is no there.
That's it.
Like I'm learning this thing.
That's right.
Because you start over. It's like as a leader too, right? Let's say you started something new or you moved to a new organization, right? You have to establish yourself there again.
That's right.
You got to do it all over again.
You do.
You can bring this bag of tricks with you, but you still have to connect with everybody in that organization.
You do. 100%.
You got to earn their trust. You got to do all that stuff.
Show them that you are who you say that you are.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? It's activity, right? People, build trust in small cap promises.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you show up, put in the work, and make good on the promises that you're delivering,
That's it.
people begin to build that trust in you.
Do what you say you're going to do.
That's it.
Right.
And I think you also have to know that if you don't know something, that's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember, I'm in a coaching program, and I remember when I first got started, I walked into the room and I was pretty good in my industry already. Right.
Yeah.
And I go into the room and I'm like hearing all these guys stand up on stage, one after the next, talk about all these amazing things they're doing. And honestly, I left feeling a little inferior. Right. I was just like, oh man, I am not at all where I thought I was.
Imposter syndrome.
Exactly, 100%. And then, I heard this statement, and I've used it the last couple of podcasts, but I'm going to say it again, because it's been something I've been talking about. Comparison is a thief of joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're comparing yourself to somebody else, sometimes that can steal your joy. But what you got to remember is they may have been in the exact same room 2 years before you, saying the exact same thing,
100%.
right? And what's funny is you flash forward that to today, and now I'm on that same stage doing those same presentations, and I'm walking back out in the audience, and people are going, dude, I don't know anything. Right. And they're having conversations with me, and I'm going, you're exactly where I was 2 years ago. It's okay. You got 2 years. You know what you got to do? You got to go into that room. You got to listen to what's being said. And every time you're going to hear something different, because sometimes you're not ready to hear it yet.
Yeah.
And you got to take it back and put it to action, because you can hear it and never use it.
Right.
But if you hear it and take it to action, that's how big things happen in your life.
Yep. Yeah. Actually apply it.
You have to apply it.
Well, to your point,
big surprise.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's almost like, your parents, right? I'll use the dad example where it's like, always wear your seatbelt, or, this is why you always check to make sure the lawnmower's not running. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then you hear them say things, they give you advice along the way, whether it's a brother, a parent,
That's right.
uncle, or whatever, right? A coach. And then it doesn't really set in. And 2 years later, someone else says it, or you see it, or you do it, and you're like, that's what he was talking about, or she was talking about.
100%.
Right? Yeah.
No question about it. No question
you're
about
ready
it.
to receive it.
You're ready to hear it. You weren't ready then. You know, you were a young punk kid.
That's it. Yeah.
But then there's another side of that too, Joey, and that's that you have to make sure that you're hearing information from the right source too, right?
Yep.
And
consider the source.
Consider the source. And this is something that, came up on the last podcast, and it really has me thinking, because, at the end of the day, I always think about this stuff, but, the gentleman came on, and what he said, and I told you a little bit about this guy in the green room. He said, if the past that we came from, the people that raised us were not successful in what they did, right? Well, we have to learn how to reprogram our mindset.
100%.
Because if we were programmed wrong, then we're going to have the same outcome that they have if we don't change our programming, right?
Yeah.
But if we learn how to reprogram ourselves from the right mentors, we can actually accomplish anything that we want, right? Or to some degree, right?
Yep. 100%.
Like I don't know that I'm ever going to be, Michael Jordan, especially not at this age, right?
Sure. Right. Yeah.
But again, practice makes perfect.
But we can
right?
wear shoes.
That's it. I can wear shoes.
That's it.
100%. I can wear shoes. But at the end of the day, that's how it works, right? If you want to become something, and your limiting beliefs from what you were raised tell you can't. Maybe you need to go back and look at the resources to where that came from.
Yeah.
And then surround yourself with a different group of people.
Yeah.
And start working on yourself.
Yeah. You have to be so intentional.
That's it.
About it. And, my experience on this journey of trying to figure out like how, you hit these glass ceilings along the way.
That's it.
Could be personal relationships, could be professional, could be money, could be all this stuff.
All
like
of it.
spending habits.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't know where they come from.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, it's like, we've got this period up until we're about 6 or 7 where we're just being programmed, right?
That's
and
it.
so it doesn't matter the environment that we were in unintentionally,
That's
right?
it.
Like your nervous system, your programming, your belief systems, right? All that stuff.
All of it.
It just happens, right?
Yeah.
Like you didn't get to choose that stuff.
didn't.
So, if you had a bad relationship with women or friends or money or whatever, like, and you have to identify it and go, okay, how do I fix this?
Yeah.
How do I fix this? Who's
it.
done this?
100%.
Right? And go seek out mentorship, deep work, whatever it is, right?
Counseling.
Counseling. Yeah, exactly.
You might need some of that along the way, right?
Yeah,
It's
who
very
knows?
possible.
Like the thing that you're looking for might come from just talking about it.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, now I think I know where this is coming from. Now, how do we root it out and then change it to be the version that I want today? Because I want to be a great leader. I want to be these things. I want to be the head of my family. I want to set up a legacy. I want to do all these things.
You can.
Right? You can do it, right? But you got to
can.
be very intentional.
Intentional.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Well, and you've been very intentional. You were intentional about where you wanted to go and the business you wanted to create.
Yep.
And despite all the bumps and bruises, you talked about that trunk full of mistakes in the back,
That's
right?
it,
Like
man.
that shared equity that may never get anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Here's
Hopes and dreams. Right? Yeah.
And you never know, right? One of those may come back up and you're like, oh,
There's
wow,
a couple
that
in
one-
there
one
that
worked out.
might be
Yeah, that
interesting,
worked
right?
out.
And maybe Christmas someday. Right? Yeah.
Score. But at the end of the day, if you
Yeah.
don't want to have those experiences
Yeah.
and you're in a business where you need a consultant,
Yeah.
I know a guy.
Yeah.
I know a guy. His name's Joey.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, he's got his hands in a few different projects.
Yep.
One of those being the consulting side. And that comes along with a lot of back end tech work too, right?
It does. Yeah. Sometimes it's a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
So we focus on fundamentals, but part of that is it's a very digital and connected world, right? So
it.
if we want to build something that is predictable, profitable business, you have to have systems, right? So sometimes that's people and sometimes that's software and sometimes that's things that connect.
Sometimes
with
it's
software.
AI.
And sometimes it's AI.
Might be a dirty word in today's world for some, but
Right.
at the end of the day, it's definitely, it's an important topic in the tech world today as well, right?
Yeah, it's huge. Like, I think this sort of adoption that we're seeing right now, right? We've gone through the hype cycle where people still, I think, aren't quite sure what it is.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing on our side is highly specialized, agents, little armies of agents, AI agents. And we have ways now that we can orchestrate them and sort of manage them so
That's
that
exactly
they
right.
can talk to each other and they can protect data. And so there's all these and outstanding things that you can do. So
There
you're
are.
like, hey, I've got my business humming along. Like, I know that we can scale. I can always sell more things and do more things, but like, I'd like to have a better relationship with my customers. I'd like to see if there are areas where I can serve them better or be more efficient, right? Not necessarily from, reducing your footprint from an employment or staff standpoint, but like, how can we do the same thing and more?
That's it.
Right? And do it better, have better insights.
Right.
Right. Am I leaving anything on the table in the industry? Is there a way that I
Love
can
that.
make my employee experience better too? Right.
That's
Can I
right.
enhance the culture? Like if I've got somebody that's doing something very manual and go, I would really like to make their lives
Let's
better.
automate that.
Yeah. Let's automate that.
Let's
right?
automate that
Yeah.
and give them some time back so they can focus on the client experience.
Yeah. Help
right?
him continue to grow, take on a new role.
That's right.
Add some
100%.
responsibility.
Yeah. I think if you're looking at it from the right angle, right? Because you could certainly look at it from the negative and well, hey, it's going to replace me. Where you can figure out how you can complement what you're doing,
100%.
right? And then that just allows for you to scale faster, bigger, bolder.
Yep.
And accomplish more and maybe protect your employees, right?
Yeah.
Along the way, which is really important.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that, man.
Yeah.
So again, if you're out there and you're looking for somebody that can help you with the consulting side of things, right?
Yep.
Or if you're a consumer
Yep.
that's looking at how do I hire a contractor that I can trust and know they're going to show up to the work, you're finding solutions for that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, and the way I approach things too is, I think probably a lot like you,
Right.
with your Rome landing page, right? Like I'll take a call with anyone. I will
Yeah.
take a 15-minute call literally with anyone.
That's
it
it.
doesn't matter if it's someone's son or nephew or someone that wants to start a
That's
business
right.
or they want to bounce ideas off of. I think it's a community thing, right? Like nobody gets there by themselves. And yes, you have to be the one that champions it. So my approach is my door's always open. I will take a call with anyone. If I can be of service by making an introduction or providing some sort of advice based on that call, I'm happy to do that.
I love that. Well, when the folks out there want to find you, Joey, how do they do that?
Yeah. So you can email me at let's do this at keeperconsultinggroup.com.
Let's do this
Yep.
at keeperconsultinggroup.com.
That's it.
I love that.
Yep.
I love that. And you'll get a chance to be face to face with Joey Martin live.
That's it. Yeah.
And, what a great conversation you guys are going to have. What a great conversation today, man.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
We knew. We were like, hey,
yeah.
where are we going to go with this thing? And we didn't know. And I think it's this has been a fun one, man. I've had a good time today. So,
yeah. And, we're going to put down in the link with the show, we're going to put a special offer for any of your real estate folks.
Oh, yeah.
So anybody that wants to send someone over to Revlin for a conversation, we do a no cost upfront thing for anyone you send over. We're going to add a bonus for them, and we have a referral thing for real estate pros.
That's awesome.
We'll put the link to that landing page down
right there.
Down in the
you're
bottom.
Probably looking at it.
Bottom, yeah,
it'll be in the description too, but
Yep.
I think it's right now. It's,
Yep.
there it is.
Yep.
So very cool, man. Very cool. And, as Joey was talking about with me is my Rome thing. I just want to let you guys know, if you ever want to meet with me, you can always find us on the Homes Begin Here network. That starts with a website, goes to, Facebook, Instagram. We're on YouTube there. But if you go to the website and you want to meet with me face to face, you can literally click the link on the website under the Talk to Us page.
Yeah.
And you can drop right into my virtual office and we can meet face to face. Now, sometimes you got to book a time, but you can meet with anybody from my group at any time, face to face live.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for mortgage advice or if you're a loan officer, you're looking for a home,
sure.
whatever it is that you're looking for, right? If you just want to talk to some really cool people, click on the link and check it out. It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
But, again, if you are in a lot of different spaces and you're looking to scale your business, this guy over here, man.
Yep. Happy to be a resource.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's amazing. Well, Joey, anything you want to say to the audience today before we wrap up and let you get back out there, man?
No, I think, I think the biggest thing for the folks that are, especially the real estate folks or anybody that's an entrepreneur listening, or if you want to build something, just get after it.
Yeah.
Right. I think the quote I heard the other day, I'm totally going to steal this. It's, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
My man.
And so just get going, and just get after it.
Yeah. Well, then we'll take a page from Nike and then just do it.
That's it.
And do it 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 and fail and get back up and do it again, because that's how greatness happens, right?
100%.
And take that from any entrepreneur, right? Go out there and look up anybody and watch how many times they failed.
Oh my goodness.
Before they got it right. Yes. Those people that you think made it big overnight, they failed a whole lot before they got there, right? Same with Joey. A whole lot of failure to get where he is today.
There's an entire graveyard.
I love it, man. I love it. But you know what? Those are the stepping stones to becoming who you are today.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And Joey's a great guy, I know. So, So, hey guys, we truly appreciate you joining in.
Yeah.
Thanks for having Joey. Joey, thanks for coming on today, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Devin. Thank you so much. If you made it this far, we appreciate it. I love sharing my story. I love connecting and helping.
Great story, man. Great story. Yeah. Hopefully you got past the car audio stuff. We geeked out on that a little bit in the beginning. But if you did and you're in for the ride, man, you're probably going to be reaching out to Joey soon. So, hey, and if you want to connect with us, hey, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We're all over the Homes Begin Here network. And, DM us if you got any questions, if there's anything we can do for you. Make sure you jump on Joey's schedule. If you heard something that you need in your business today, call this guy, get on his calendar. He's going to be there and give you great resources. Yep. But I think until the next time, man, is this a wrap?
This is a wrap.
That's it.
Yeah,
we'll see you then, guys.
See ya.
Thanks, Joey. Appreciate you having on.
Thanks, Devin.
Yeah, good stuff.